Good day, this is Lynn Brandenberger with the Department of Horticulture and Landscape Architecture at Oklahoma State University. Today I'll be talking about using OSU's Soil Lab website for making fertility recommendations specifically for vegetable crops. But before we begin, I want to make the point that soil testing is the best way to determine soil pH and nutrient levels in your production fields. Fertility recommendations from soil tests almost always are given in pounds of actual nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium per acre. A lot of times vegetable growers have smaller patches or smaller areas of vegetable crops, and they need to determine how much to apply to less than an acre. So in order to do that, we need to divide those recommendations that the soil test is given by 43,560. That's the number of square feet in an acre. And then we'll have the fertility recommendations on a per square foot basis. To continue, we need to understand how to calculate fertilizer rates. Remember what I just talked about, and then it will become clear as we go along. First, we need to determine the number of square feet of the area that we're going to fertilize. And second, we need to calculate the amount of fertilizer to use. So in our example, we have an area that's 100 feet by 400 feet. We multiply length times width and we get 40,000 square feet. The recommended fertilizer application that we've received from our example soil test is that we need to apply 50 pounds of nitrogen per acre, and we want to use urea, which is 4600, the 46 standing for the amount or the percentage of nitrogen in that fertilizer. So back to our square feet. So we need to determine how much of an acre this 40,000 square feet is. So we take 40,000, we divide it by the number of square feet per acre, which is that 43,560, and we end up with 0.92 acres. Then we take that amount of acreage that we're going to fertilize and we multiply it times the 50 pounds of nitrogen per acre that we want to apply, and we get a number. That number is 45.9 pounds of nitrogen. And you think, oh, I'm ready to go. Well, we got one more step. And that step is we need to determine how much actual fertilizer, because that 45.9 is the number of pounds of nitrogen. So we take this 45.9 pounds of nitrogen and we divide it by the percentage of nitrogen in the fertilizer. And we use this number equivalent. This is 0.46 is the same thing as 46%. And we divide that 45.9 by 0.46. And that comes out to be 99.8 pounds of 46.00 or urea. So that's an easy way to calculate a fertilizer rate, and that'll at least get you started on determining how to do that. Next, we need to talk about where to send samples. We really have two tracks in this system. The first track, and that's the one we're talking about today, is if you want to directly access your soil test results from the Soil, Water, Forage Analytical Laboratory website, then you need to send your soil samples directly to them. And there's the address down below on the slide here. If you do that, then when they're done with the test, they will send you back the results, and they'll also give you a login ID and ID your password. The other track, let's say that you're not really interested in doing all that on your own and you'd rather have somebody else work with you on it, you can send your soil samples to the soil lab through your county extension educator. And so you take your samples to the county extension office, they'll send them off, they will receive the results back, and then they will actually get on this website that we're going to talk about and develop those recommendations for the different crops that you're interested in. One thing you want to remember about this, if you're going to have the county extension office do it is to let them know which crops you're interested in, because otherwise they'll probably just use garden, and that's not going to really cut it for commercial growers that need to know exactly what they need to apply. Alright, so we're here at the SWFAL homepage, and you know, it's just a normal, I kind of look at this as the portal to SWFAL. On the left you can see several things there in orange: customer login, general lab information, etc. And we're going to click on this customer login. So I'm going to click on that, and it takes us to the login page. It will have a customer code, which if you've sent your soil sample directly to the lab, you will be then issued a customer code and a password. So I'm going to type in my password, and then I will click login. So then we're logged in and we're kind of ready to go. This is kind of the beginning of the whole process. We need to find the reports that we're interested in. You can choose the type of report. In this laboratory here at Oklahoma State tests a lot of different things: fertility, texture, forage, all sorts of stuff. So you want to click on the type of sample that you're interested in getting a report on. In our case, it's a fertility report. And then you can also do some other sorting there under the result options. I just typed in or used 2016 as my search, and then I'm going to click on display results. So this table here is a table of all the different soil samples that we submitted to the lab during 2016. And we're going to click on one of these samples, and that orange number on the left under lab ID is actually a clickable link that will take us to the report on our soil sample. So we've got here, you can see results from our soil sample, and the lab ID number for that sample is 808044. And you can see some things. It's got my name, it has a lab number, the customer code there on the right, sample number, and then a date that they received it, and then when the report was ready to go. You can also see that we're getting some information about our soil sample. We've got the soil pH, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium. Nitrogen is given in pounds per acre, and then the phosphorus and potassium those numbers are actually index numbers, which allows the website to calculate how much fertilizer you need to apply. The other thing that we asked for on our particular soil test was percent organic matter, because we're doing a lot of work with soil improvement. You can see that our organic matter is at 2.3% on this sample. So then we would click this bottom button here that says interpret. Click that. And under that thing we still have the same information, but it opens up a window where it says select crop. So we're going to select cowpea. I'm going to click on select crop. And then it will give me the recommendations for fertilizer applications for cowpea. So you notice here it says the pH is adequate, nitrogen is deficient. It says we need a little bit of nitrogen. Phosphorus is almost where we need to be, but it's a little bit low, and it's stating that we need to put a little bit of phosphorus down. The other thing that you can do, if you're a little more visually oriented kind of person, you can click on bar chart, and I'm going to do that now. And you can see on this slide that it gives the same information and but it gives it more graphically. So the nitrogen is showing you know, it's low. Phosphorus is not quite where we want it, but it's okay. Potassium, we got more than enough, and organic matter's pretty decent. So also in this window that we can use, we can go ahead and write comments, and this is in this box down below. and I've just written in 2016 NPK results are close to what we expected, and organic matter is continuing to increase over the years that we've done soil tests. I want to also point out a couple of fact sheets that may be of interest to you. There's the website address up there on the top. The first one is HLA 6036, and this is called Soil Test Interpretations for Vegetable Crops. This is the fact sheet that the website actually uses in order to calculate how much fertilizer you need to apply. So if you'd rather do it by hand or understand how it's being done, this is a good fact sheet to have, and it's great background information. The second fact sheet that I have here is PSS 2225, which is OSU Soil Test Interpretations. If you're interested in growing other crops like wheat, grain sorghum, soybeans, etc., this fact sheet will actually help you do that. And again, this is the fact sheet that the website uses to actually calculate the fertilizer recommendations that your soil test would have on it. Just finishing up here, there are a few things I'd like for you to consider. First is, I would encourage you to try SWFAL's website. It's a great place to go for specific recommendations for vegetable crops. And that's important because vegetable crop nutritional requirements can vary a lot. An example, okra might need 25 or 30 pounds of nitrogen. Cabbage might need 180 pounds of nitrogen. So you can see there's a huge difference between vegetable crops. The other thing I want to point out here is the SWFAL website address, and that's a good address to know, but if you forget it, just go to your web browser and type in Oklahoma State University Soil Testing Laboratory, and trust me, it's going to pop up. I'll leave you with this. Soil testing really is the best management practice for nutrient management of your vegetable crops, and I think it's a great way to go. Hope you have a good day. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.